But she'd continue to find more excuses, and she's got to sit there and answer everything. She can't just ignore it or say no. She's got to answer questions, and she's got to tell the story.
Blake went to deposition, and she went with a team of 8 high-powered lawyers, her composure as polished as her red carpet looks, only to find herself locked in a 7-hour stare-down with Justin Baldoni, while cameras vanished and whispers of tears and tactical leaks filled the halls. Rumor has it that as Brian Freedman drilled her on every flirtatious on-set glance, her legal crew pivoted from subpoenas to damage control. And the celebrity gossip mill never smelled drama this potent.
Blake Lively has finally sat down for her deposition. And I'll be honest, it surprised me because I didn't think she was gonna, but she'd continue to find more excuses. The fact that she's now sat for a deposition makes me think a settlement is now even further away from a possibility.
The world collectively gasped as Blake, clad in composure, squared off against her alleged nemesis in a grueling 7-hour deposition marathon. Justin Baldoni, who flew in, defying speculations of no show, watched her every word as Brian Freedman's steely questions dug into those steamy on-set moments and alleged smears.
The chance for Justin's side to question her under oath, to really get the facts from her. And she's got to sit there and answer everything. She can't just ignore it or say no. She's got to answer questions, and she's got to tell the story.
Rumor has it she broke down, tears betraying her while Baldoni's team scribbled furiously in the back. Was it guilt? A strategic crack in her rehearsed narrative? Or simply the pressure of being forced to answer the very accusations she once controlled in tabloids? The cameras were off, but the stakes couldn't have been higher for March's looming trial and for Blake's empire of public sympathy.
Now, I have too much respect for the court to get spicy there, but I have no respect for Bully Lively's lawyers.
But wait, did anyone notice how Blake's legal squad suddenly shifted tactics mid-hearing? First, they subpoenaed 107 content creators, dragging TikTok stars, podcasters, and bloggers into a sprawling fishing expedition for private emails and IP logs. Then, in what can only be described as a desperate course correction, they withdrew subpoenas against service providers, admitting those moves were legally defective. Perez Hilton, ever the fearless journalist, celebrated in Vegas as his own quash motion was granted. Without counsel, he meticulously built 9 rock-solid grounds under Rule 45 to torch the subpoena and demand fees and sanctions. Talk about poetic justice. A subpoena meant to intimidate ended up spotlighting Blake's own privilege ploys, all while racking up legal costs and public ridicule.
To fight her vile discovery practices, her bullying behavior, and what I think is an unsound and unenforceable subpoena. I also included Exhibit A, the subpoena, Exhibit B, the meet and confer emails, showing that Team Ridicula was not being very cooperative. And I filed a few more exhibits that I also thought were relevant.
Meanwhile, the spiritual shift insider interview blew the lid off Lively's smear allegations, revealing that secret meet and confers were more smoke and mirrors than substance. An anonymous immigration attorney subpoenaed out of thin air uncovered the bizarre excuse that she was targeted simply for following Popcorn Planet's Andy Signore, someone she'd never even met. The Zoom interrogation was engineered, with Lively's lawyers outnumbering her and probing irrelevant anonymous sources angles. When pressed for evidence, they blinked and withdrew, leaving behind only confusion and the chilling realization that Blake's team will weaponize discovery to harass anyone who dares criticize her.
You imagine the face of Blake when she saw Justin Baldoni there. Could I give anything to be a fly on the wall during that deposition? I think for Justin Baldoni, just to sit there and have her watch him while she's lying her teeth off.
Speaking of criticism, Perez Hilton's scorching breakdown laid bare how Lively's side ignored ChatGPT hallucinations.
I had ChatGPT help me, and it gave me a made-up case. A hallucination case. That is what ChatGPT called it.
Yet nearly bankrupted non-parties with wild subpoenas. His pro-se motion teardown reminded the world that journalists, digital or otherwise, have First Amendment shields and state-level privileges that no celebrity decree can override. He hammered home Nevada's absolute shield law, Rule 45's geographic limits, and anti-slap principles, transforming a simple quash motion into a constitutional crusade. The result? A subpoena quashed, sanctions looming, and Lively's bullying tactics publicly exposed as the overreach they truly are.
Appearing pro se, respectfully moves this court to quash the subpoena issued to him by the Southern District of New York in the matter of Blake Lively versus Wayfarer Studios for adjudicating this motion under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 45D3.
But the drama didn't end there. In New York, Judge Lyman fielded letters from both camps over the scuttled subpoena of Freedman's law firm.
So we still don't know if Brian Freedman and his law firm are going to have to turn over a lot of information to Ku Klux Klan. Hoping to make their case stronger, each side has now submitted letters to the judge,
Purportedly to seize privileged work product and metadata. Lively's attorneys swore they never intended to capture those documents exclusively, offering to narrow scope and exclude internal memoranda.
Lawyers for the unliftable Lively tell the judge, quote, "For the avoidance of doubt, Miss Lively did not intend for the subpoena to capture privileged communications exclusively with the Wayfarer defendants."
Baldoni's team smirked at the notion that Freedman's public statements could be defamation, invoking New York's absolute privilege for quasi-judicial proceedings. The clash exposed Blake's pivot from smear conspiracy to defamation claim, a narrative unraveling before our eyes. Throughout it all, Kirsty Flaw reminded us that the periodic Ryan Reynolds career puff piece in USA Today wasn't coincidence but PR misdirection.
Where they go through his career. I mean, how random is this article the same day as Blake Lively is being deposed? What's the news in this story exactly?
Plastered on the very day Blake's deposition fireworks lit up the docket. Was it a diversion? An attempt to humanize Reynolds while Blake weathered courtroom cross-examination? Perhaps. But Flay's sharp insight underscores how every tweet, headline, and sponsored VPN ad slot is weaponized in this celebrity legal war.
He was commenting on this article in People magazine. His comments were always deactivated by People, and he sent me some screenshots. And none of his comments were offensive. So there's obviously someone sitting at People just removing all comments that are not pro-Blake Lively.
Back at Popcorn Planet, Andy Signore sniffed out the leaks before anyone else, lamenting that coverage outlets twisted the surprise of Blake's deposition despite court-ordered notice of participants. He ripped People magazine for sensational headlines, accusing press pawns of fanboying Lively to shred Baldoni's credibility. Meanwhile, Blake's amended complaint resembled a black bar redaction puzzle, as her team desperately patched jurisdiction gaps to force PR crisis manager Jed Wallace back into the fray. Perez Hilton wasn't done dishing drama either. In a briefer, non-existent smear special, he reveled in deposition revelations that Blake admitted her only personal smear knowledge involved a mysterious, unnamed party, hinted to be Perez himself. Cue the mic drop moment. Lively's grand conspiracy, reduced to a single anecdote buried under redactions. The crown of victimhood cracked, and the world witnessed her narrative imploding live on the record. As all eyes now fix on Judge Lyman's next rulings, will he narrow or quash? Side with defamation privilege or expose undue burden? The broader takeaway is clear. In the celebrity litigation arena, control of the narrative is as lethal a weapon as any subpoena. Blake Lively's legal juggernaut may command vast resources, but this showdown has revealed cracks in the armor. From pro-se journalists swinging constitutional hammers to insiders' leaked truths cutting through PR smoke. The saga also spotlights the collateral damage. Content creators who thought they were safe behind screens suddenly scrambling to mount motions in multiple states, relying on anti-slap laws and local privacy statutes. Some judges may sympathize. Others may see the subpoenas as fair game in high-stakes litigation. Either way, Blake's tactics have ignited a mini-legal wildfire, forcing creators to navigate unfamiliar courtroom terrain or face potential floods of demands for their private lives. And let's not forget the human cost. Sleepless nights over depositions, Zoom calls cloaked in intimidation, and the specter of private data in the hands of high-powered litigators. Even those who successfully quashed subpoenas have been left reeling. Anxiety over data leaks, reputational harm, and the chilling effect on free speech. When celebrities wield subpoenas like swords, the collateral impact on digital democracy and independent voices is profound. So here we stand at the crossroads of celebrity, law, and public perception. Blake Lively's drama, equal parts courtroom thriller and social media spectacle, has laid bare the power dynamics of modern defamation battles. As the deposition dust settles, the only certainty is that every next move will be dissected, memed, and litigated. In this war of words and subpoenas, who will emerge the victor? The relentless star, the tenacious truth-tellers, or the judge deciding if Lively's empire of silence can survive its own cross-examination? Only time and the gavel will reveal whether Blake's legal maneuvers were masterstrokes or miscalculations. But one thing is indisputable. In this high-stakes game, even megastars can be deposed, and their reputations laid bare for the world's verdict.